Welcome to my channel. These slides that are rolling by are an indication of some of the things that I cover on a regular basis in my videos. Once you have watched the video, I would appreciate it if you would click the like button and leave a small comment. It's really a big help to the channel. The YouTube logarithm, when it sees that, promotes the channel more and will be more viewers. I would appreciate that very much. Thank you for watching.
Well, hello everybody. I guess I'm in a French cooking mood today. I'm making a pomme de terre Dauphinoise. That sounds very fancy. It's basically an au gratin of potato, what we also might call a potato scallop, a very specific one and made in a certain way. And mine is sort of a conglomeration of several different recipes that I've looked at over time. There is a great debate or argument or whatever amongst French cooks. If it has cheese, it is not a Dauphinoise. Well, mine has cheese, and I still say it's a Dauphinoise. A Dauphine, translated into English, I guess princess would be the closest we could come to it. The Dauphine is the wife of a Dauphin, and the Dauphin is the heir to the throne of France, which hasn't existed since the 1700s when Louis lost his head, along with Marie Antoinette. But anyway, that's what it is. I don't know how far back the recipe goes, if it was actually made for a Dauphine at one time or not, but that's the title that it got. And it isn't as complicated as you might think with a fancy name. It's really quite straightforward. And it's something that I like very much. It has a lot of the flavors in that I like. So I'll bring you closer and show you what I'm doing here. Well, to start with, this little gratin dish is cast iron. You do not have to have a cast iron gratin dish. One with any other material would work as well. Very smooth, enameled on the outside. And the inside is kind of, well, rough, pebbly. I'm not quite sure how I would describe that. But it lends itself quite well to this type of seasoning, a large clove of garlic. And you rub it all over the surface. That way you don't have to put pieces of garlic in the actual dish. But you get the garlic flavor quite nicely, actually. So that is step number one. Now for the liquid and the seasonings. This is half a cup of heavy cream and half a cup of, 2% milk, I guess I used. May not need all of that, may actually need some more, in which case I'll probably add a little bit more heavy cream. And into that some salt and some pepper. And here's a quiz for you. I don't know what kind of points you get if you can guess the answer, but which TV chef uses this type of a pepper mill? I've just recently acquired this one and I love it. You can, like most pepper mills, you can select the size of the pepper that you want to come out of it, and I want extremely fine. Never been able to get it with any of the other pepper mills that I've ever owned. Actually, the one that I use the most is a single-use thing by Costco, by Kirkland, and no matter how I adjust that, that produces pepper chunks. So let me know if you know which TV chef is always using that particular pepper mill. This is just a bit of nutmeg. Not a lot, but a little nutmeg adds a unique flavor to it. My potato is ready to be sliced. As I said, I like mine with cheese. And what I'm using is Gruyere, a Swiss cheese. And this is actually one from Switzerland. A little piece of cheese cost half a fortune. What it would cost in Switzerland, I'm sure no more than like cheddar made here costs here in this market. But by the time you bring it in from Switzerland, I guess it gets marked up quite a bit, but I love the stuff. I think that's plenty. So now we'll slice the potatoes. I'm going to slice mine using my food processor. You could use a mandolin. I do have a mandolin. Always seems to be a blood sacrifice every time I use it, though. I usually end up bleeding. And you can cut them by hand as well. It's just that you get a more regular cut. And makes short work of the process. These are potatoes out of my garden, just some small ones. They tend to get left off to one side, so I thought I'd use them for this. Slicing more than I need or not. Anyway, there they are sliced. Well, assembly is quite simple. Here's where I find out if I have too many potatoes or not enough. Can't be not enough, because whatever it is here is what I'm going to be using, I guess, if I use them all. I put the gratin pan on a small baking tray, cookie sheet, whatever. Because inevitably this is the kind of thing that will boil over in the oven if you don't. Sort of like paying the insurance policy. If you put it on a pan, then it probably won't boil over. We'll see when it comes out, I guess. Well, I think that's just about the right amount that I would like to see. Don't know if I mentioned previously or not, the oven is preheated now to 180 degrees Celsius, and that is, well, accurately, that's 356 degrees Fahrenheit, but I can't set mine to 356, my oven won't do that. So mine is set for 360. And we'll add the seasoning liquid, cream and milk. And flour and salt. That seems to go quite well. Clean up my first spill before I put it in the oven. And the Gruyere on top. And this bakes at the temperatures that I just mentioned, anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes, basically until it's done. Just stick a knife in the potatoes, and if they seem to be cooked through, then you're ready to go. So I will bring you back and we'll have a look at it when it comes out of the oven and hopefully give it a taste. Well, there it is, just out of the oven, and as you can see on the side of it there, it did bubble over a little bit, so I'm glad it was on that baking tray. One thing about the cast iron cookware, it retains the heat for a very long time. That is far too hot for me to attempt to eat right now. I'll give it 10-15 minutes or so, and then we'll taste it and see what it's like. I'm going to have mine with a piece of wild-caught Pacific salmon. You've probably heard me rant and rave before about not eating Atlantic salmon, because in this country anyway, the only Atlantic salmon that is in the market is farmed salmon. Toxic farm salmon, not fit for human consumption in my personal opinion. There's a lot of it farmed around here where I live, and I don't know of anybody that works in the industry that will eat it. I won't get into any more detail, that's enough. I've ranted and raved about it before, but I just will not eat it. So I buy the wild-caught Pacific salmon. I don't think I said anything about the size of the gratin dish before. I would call this a 2-serving dish, so if you're using a larger casserole or whatever to make yours, you scale up accordingly. Just a matter of adding more cream, more milk, and more cheese, along with more potatoes, I guess. But I've got to give this a try. I want some with the cheese on, the Gruyere. Very hot, trying not to talk with my mouth full. It is delicious. I can taste the garlic from rubbing it on. And the other seasoning that's sort of dominant is the nutmeg, along with the wonderful cheese. Very good. Might as well have some of my wild caught Pacific salmon. Well, it's a very simple thing to make, really, with a very fancy name. And if it interests you, I hope you'll give it a try. Thank you very much for watching.